What if I told you there's one number that many investors look at to understand a company's financial health and flexibility better than most headline metrics? It's not just revenue. It's not just net income. It's free cash flow. Many investors focus on free cash flow because it's generally harder to manipulate than earnings. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to find it, calculate it, and use it to make smarter investment decisions. FCF stands for free cash flow. At its core, it answers a simple question. How much cash is left after the business generates cash from operations and reinvests it in the assets it needs to maintain or grow? See, earnings can be influenced by accounting choices, but cash is generally harder to manipulate than earnings, even though it still needs context. That's why many investors look at free cash flow alongside earnings instead of relying on just one number. A common way to calculate free cash flow is operating cash flow minus capital expenditures. But if you're new to this, you might be thinking, okay, what exactly is operating cash flow? Operating cash flow, sometimes called cash from operations, is the cash a company generates from running its core business during the period. In other words, it starts with the actual business activity, cash coming in from customers and cash going out for things like employees, suppliers, rent, and other operating costs. You will usually find operating cash flow on the cash flow statement, and this is important because it is different from net income. Net income is an accounting profit number. Operating cash flow adjusts that profit for non-cash items and for certain balance sheet changes. For example, a company might show depreciation expense on the income statement, which reduces net income even though no cash actually left the business for depreciation in that period. Or a company might report revenue before the cash has actually been collected from the customers. That is one reason investors often like to look at operating cash flow. It helps show how much real cash the business operations are producing, not just what the accounting earnings say. Then we subtract capital expenditures or CapEx from operating cash flow to get free cash flow. CapEx is money the company spends on long-term assets needed to maintain or expand the business, like equipment, property, or infrastructure. So the basic idea behind free cash flow is this. Take the cash the business generated from operations, then subtract the cash it had to reinvest into the business. Let's say a company has operating cash flow of $500 million and CapEx of $150 million. That gives us free cash flow of $350 million. A company can report strong earnings while generating weak free cash flow, which is one reason investors often look at both. That remaining cash can potentially be used for dividends, share buybacks, debt reduction, or future growth investments, although not all of it is truly discretionary. One more thing. Free cash flow is not a standardized metric, so different companies and data providers may calculate it slightly differently. Some may use slightly different definitions or make additional adjustments. So whenever you use free cash flow, it is a good idea to check exactly how it is being defined and calculated. So what does free cash flow actually tell you? Generally speaking, high free cash flow often suggests the company is generating substantial cash beyond what it needs for ongoing operations and reinvestment. That can be a good sign because it means the business may be efficient and has financial flexibility. Low or negative free cash flow is not always bad. Sometimes it means the company is investing heavily in growth. Think about Amazon in its early years. The company spent aggressively on warehouses and infrastructure that later supported a much larger business. But if a company consistently has negative free cash flow without a clear growth strategy or a path to better cash generation, that can be a red flag. Let's look at Apple. Apple is often used as an example of a mature business with enormous free cash flow generation. That kind of cash flow gives a company flexibility to invest in the business while also returning large amounts of capital to shareholders through dividends and buybacks. Now compare that to a company like Tesla during its early growth phase. Tesla spent years with weaker or negative free cash flow while scaling factories and production capacity. As the business matured, its cash generation improved. That contrast helps show how free cash flow can look very different for a mature company versus a growth company. Let me warn you about a few limitations of using free cash flow in your analysis. First, it varies widely by industry. Capital intensive businesses like utilities and manufacturing will naturally have lower free cash flow because they need to spend more on equipment and infrastructure. Second, free cash flow can be lumpy. A company might delay CapEx 1 year to boost free cash flow, then spend heavily the next year. That's why you should look at multiple years, not just one. And third, working capital changes can distort free cash flow in the short term. A company collecting receivables faster or paying suppliers slower can temporarily inflate cash flow. Fourth, a company can boost free cash flow in the short term by cutting necessary investment, but that may hurt the business later. And finally, free cash flow is usually most useful for operating businesses. For banks and insurers, debt, cash flows, and working capital function differently, so other metrics are often more informative. So let's recap what we've learned about free cash flow. Free cash flow tells you how much cash a company generates after operating cash flow and capital spending. High free cash flow often suggests a business has financial flexibility, but you still need context. Lower negative free cash flow might reflect heavy investment, so context matters there too. And always compare free cash flow within the same industry and across multiple years. Free cash flow helps you understand not just whether a company is profitable on paper, but whether it is actually producing cash. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you on the next one.